Welcome to Awakening Within. I'm your host, Jill McPherson. If there's one thing I notice day to day is that people often struggle to truly hear and communicate with one another. I witness people hurt, angry, frustrated over not feeling heard, and without even realizing it, they're not hearing the others well. So what do we do to hear each other more effectively and lovingly? My next guest is back with us to continue this conversation on effective communication and improving relationships. Please welcome back my guest, Eric Nagler.
Hi.
Hi. So you're back because I feel very passionate about helping people communicate more effectively. You have helped me do this tremendously, and it's been quite life-changing, not only in my relationships with other people, but probably more importantly, my relationship with myself. And which I hadn't even expected.
Right.
So let's talk more about how you help people communicate more effectively.
Yeah. So a lot of what I do is, along with the Human Awareness Institute, we do weekend workshops, and a lot of the workshops are about effective communication because essentially it's about how do we bring more love into our lives, how do we become more loving, and how do we actually become love. And in order to do that, we need to be able to communicate effectively with each other and with ourselves. And so in some of the things that we do are kind of formulas for being able to express issues. You know, like I come home and something's the matter, but it's a little thing, so I never mind and I forget it, you know, but then they kind of build on each other. And we used to talk they used to collect stamps at grocery stores, and we used to think about getting all of these stamps in this stamp book, and when all of the stamps are in the book, then finally we pay off. But when it's arguments and when it's issues, then the payoff becomes one big blow up, and we blow up. And then the other person's defending themselves, and then we get into an argument, and the argument is about this issue or that issue, but really it's about feeling separated, feeling unheard, feeling uncared about. So how can we avoid that happening, you know? And one of the things we talk about at High are called withholds, okay?
Okay.
And it's a formula for expressing some issue, whatever kind of issue. And the purpose of it is to be able to get back to love. Let's say I come home and I trip over your shoes that I figure you must have left there at the bottom of the stairs. So what do I do with that?
Right.
You know, it could be a small thing and I don't want to do anything about it, but I really want to be able to share a withhold with you because I want to be heard, I want you to hear me, and it can be an expression of connection instead of disconnection, you know. So I'll say to you, I've got a withhold. Are you willing to hear it? Because I want to make sure that you're in a place to hear it. I want to make sure that I have permission to do that. You know, you might have had a horrible day, and you might have said, no, I've got 15 things I have to say to you, right?
Yeah.
Because
or I can't take one more thing because everyone else has bombarded me today, and I just can't be there for you right now. I can't listen right now.
Exactly.
Right.
But what usually happens, you know, is I'll say, you know, I've got something wrong, and you'll go, yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
And I should be able to know right away I'm not going to get heard. This isn't the right time. But never mind, we just bowl over that and go into the issue about the damn shoes or the this or the that.
Right.
So anyway, it's important to know that you have a space to hear me, okay?
Right.
Have a withhold. And what I want to do with this withhold is I want to be as specific as possible, you know? If I say, when you did that stupid thing again, that's not very specific.
Right.
It's kind of generalized, right? As specific as possible. And I say, not just when the shoes were at the bottom of the stairs, and when I tripped over the shoes at the bottom of the stairs. So that's exactly what happened. When this happened, I felt. And it really, in a way, it just ends there, okay? So I have a withhold. Are you willing to hear it? Yes. When I tripped over the shoes at the bottom of the stairs, I felt angry. And your job at that moment is to simply say, thank you.
Right. But we don't, right? Because, or most of us don't anyway, because
Right.
what's happening for me is like, I'm going to go into, well, you should have watched where you were going, or you're blaming me, and
Two good ones, yeah.
yeah.
There's probably 15.
So I'll blame you back, like
Right.
you should have watched
Yes.
where you were going, and
Right.
So
So there are some really important things for you at this point. One is, yeah, there's the shoes, that's an issue, but the other is, who am I, how did I feel, and this is about me.
Right.
You might have said, what's the big deal? It tripped over the shoes.
Yeah, minimizing it.
Yeah, but the thing is that it did happen to me. It was about me, and my anger was about me. It wasn't about you. So you have to look at a place, you have to say, okay, there's Eric, and he was feeling annoyed, he was feeling angry. Thanks for letting me know. And that's all you say is thank you.
Right, so basically a withhold is somebody sharing their personal experience in a certain time and space and just saying, please hear me that this was my experience.
Exactly.
It's not saying, I'm here to blame you, I'm here because I'm angry at you, I need to be right about this.
Right.
It's just simply saying, I had this experience, please hear this experience.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. So one of the things that I have to be doing at that point is I really just want you to hear the experience. If I don't want to come back to love, if I want to blame you, if I want to dump on you, then that's not a time for a withhold. I've got to withhold. This is the 15th time. No, I want to come back to love. I'm feeling this discomfort between us. I'm feeling the discomfort, and I don't want that to come between us. So I want to come back to love. And you want to hear me.
Okay, so that's important. So not only do I need to be in a space to hear this, but you need to be in a space of giving it from a place of love, not from a place of being right or punitive, resentment, right? For it to work effectively.
Exactly.
And you're in the right place if you're saying, I'm doing this to come back to love, rather than, because you might have to check in before you even offer withhold. Am I even in the right headspace for doing this?
Yeah. I'll think about something that somebody did something that annoyed me, and I want to share it with them. Mm-hmm. And what goes on in my head is, they never should have done that. They this, they the other thing, they the other thing. And when that's going on for me, I know this isn't the best time to do that, because I'm just going to start putting out that annoyance and that blame, even if I don't say it, Right. So I wait until I've come to a place where I can just get that, it's really about love, and it's really about connection, and this is what I really want to do.
And that's key, because that's what I'm talking about when, knowing yourself better, because this is an invitation to stop and know, where am I coming from this? Am I truly sharing a withhold from a place of wanting love and connection?
Right. Yeah.
Or am I placing it because, I need to prove somebody wrong?
So I have to be in that place, and it's also for you to recognize that, okay, this is a withhold. All I'm going to say is thank you, all right? And one of the reasons why that is because it gives you the opportunity to walk away and go through the feelings that you have. Okay, all I said was thank you. The shoes, he's always doing this, and he's this, and he's being so picky, and blah, 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 all of that stuff. I want to be able to think about that stuff until I can come back to, he was feeling upset. Maybe he had a bad day,
And we're gonna hold it right there, and we'll come back right after this break.
Okay.
Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in. If you have ever struggled in a relationship with someone at work, a friend, or in your marriage, then you'll want to stick around and listen in. My guest, Eric Nagler, who is the producer of the Ontario Human Awareness Institute, hosts communication workshops throughout Ontario. He is here with me today to discuss and share ways we can more effectively communicate with one another. Before the break, Eric, we were just talking about withholds, and
Yeah.
we're still not done. It's just I find this skill so fascinating, that
Right.
what you teach. It's helped me tremendously.
Uh-huh.
So you shared that, you share from a place of love, a withhold you have. My job as the receiver is to say thank you.
Yeah,
And then what?
exactly. I mean, that's what people say. What do you mean not just say thank you? Don't we have to fix the situation? Don't we have to deal with the shoes in front of the stairs?
Right.
And generally not.
Right.
If I say that when I saw the shoes, when I tripped over the shoes, I felt angry, that's enough. If I have to tell you, so therefore would you please blah, 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 in a way it's just not trusting you.
Right.
If you just say thank you and that's enough for me, first of all, my desire is simply to be heard, and you've heard me.
Right.
And we haven't gone into the issue. And I'm trusting you that you'll
Do something with that information.
Yeah, it'll work.
Right. Right.
And it also just gives, as I said before the break, it gives you the opportunity to go away and process, so that maybe if there's something that has to be said about the shoes, come back in a half an hour, and say, Eric, I have some feedback, around the shoes, and we can talk about it then.
Right.
But it's really
just
good to have that break.
to make it that simple, that if I say thank you, indicating that I've actually heard you, and not got defensive and not justified or blamed, but truly heard you, then you're trusting that I'll walk away with this information going, mental note, like next time, maybe
in your head you are defending yourself. That's another reason for the thank you. So I just said thank you. I'm going away, and I've got all of these defenses around the shoes. But I've just said thank you. So I'm not going to share those defenses, and I'm going to give myself an opportunity to process them and let them go.
Right, because I'm probably triggered.
You could be.
I mean, that's my experience. When
Right.
someone has shared a withhold, I instantly feel a little bit triggered.
Right.
So just keeping it simple of a thank you and walk away
Yeah.
is often best for everybody.
Yeah, and it makes it all about me having the issue and me being heard. We're
Right.
not switching around so that we start focusing on you now.
Right.
So I feel when you say thank you and walk away, maybe you haven't totally heard, but maybe you will. But at least I feel that I've had my say. This has been my space, and we
Right.
haven't gotten into a back and forth around it.
Right, because that's the trap. I have to admit, like, you've caught me many times in helping me to think I'm saying thank you, but then making some comment about, some excuse about the shoes.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, that makes your issue then about me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm taking that from you.
Yeah.
So you're trying to share yourself to me.
Right.
And instead of listening to you, I'm making your issue about me.
Yeah. So I'm going to be Jill.
Okay.
I've seen Jill do this, right?
Don't let them know I'm not perfect.
Jill comes home, she sees Scott's shoes in front of the stairs, and she says to Scott, I have a withhold to share with you. And Scott knows to say, okay.
Yeah.
And you say, when I saw the shoes, blah, 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 blah. And Scott says, thank you. And then Jill would say, so how do you feel about that? And it's really kind of a way of trying to change him.
Yes.
And so
So then
just
that's
let
not
it
a
go.
withhold anymore. It's I have an agenda to change you
Yeah,
because I need you to be
yeah.
different so I can be happy.
Yeah.
Right. So
I don't think you'll lose your job, Jill.
No, okay. But this is good, right? Because this is just showing how it's such a simple thing. And yet it's taking up, almost a whole show for us to talk about this one simple, very effective communication skill that most of us would struggle to be able to do.
Right. So it just takes practice, right?
Practice.
So if you have a partner or somebody that you want to share this with, look up withhold. And I mean, it's got this exact form. I have a withhold. Are you willing to hear it? Get permission. When this happened, as specific as I can, or when I saw this happen, or when this happened in my perception, I felt, and that's the whole thing. And the other person says, thank you. And if you practice that, even if it doesn't seem to feel right at first, eventually the rest of those bricks will fall into place,
Right.
and you'll create an edifice of good communication.
Okay, so let's take it from there. So I say thank you.
Yeah.
Back to the shoes. You tell me about the shoes. I hear you. I say thank you.
Yeah.
I'm walking away.
Yeah.
Is there any more steps to this, or is that just it?
Only if you need if you need to talk about them in some way, then you give it some time.
Okay.
Make sure that you understand how I feel, and then come back and say, I have some feedback for you around the shoes if you're willing to hear. And I might say yes, and then you would say, you know what, I just want to share with you that I've heard this before, and I keep doing this, and I'm feeling a sense of responsibility, so I want to apologize about it. And so you might come with an apology, for example, right?
Right. Exactly.
But that's it. That's basically it. Generally, in my house, the thank you is enough. I trust that the other person, she trusts that I'm going to, and you know, she'll say, you know, your socks on the floor stuff, and I'll say thank you. And then I'll come back to her and I'll say, you know, I've got this problem. I'm kind of ashamed of it, but you know, as a kid, I had to be shown over and over again. My desire would be if you would leave the socks on the floor and not pick them up, so that even if they build up, at least I get that this is my job, you know, because if you're picking them up, or you know, if I had taken those shoes that we were talking about and put them away for you, then you might not have ever learned to move your shoes, you know. And so I might come back with that kind of, we might have that kind of a talk about it.
So the feedback could be what, or basically is under the umbrella of, now that I'm aware of this, of what you experience when I leave my shoes on the steps, the feedback is what I got from it?
Yeah, could be, yeah.
You know?
It could be any kind of feedback, whatever might be necessary, and maybe nothing necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, not coming back with the feedback ideally wouldn't be projection or blame, like blaming, or it's the intention. The intention of the feedback has to be about coming back to love.
Yes.
About making a greater connection.
Yeah.
So I hear you, and then this is my experience from hearing you.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I am getting this, Eric. I really am. I am.
You know, so you were just, while you were talking, I was thinking, you know, what happens in that thank you? So I could see two scenarios. One is, you know, the shoes were in the way, and so you should be doing this and you should be doing that, and you do it all the time. I could be saying that. But you know, when I think about the socks on the bedroom floor, and Diana says, you know, when I came in and I saw the socks on the bedroom floor, I felt annoyed. I wind up going through the whole argument just myself. You know, I go, oh yeah, I've done it again. You know, I should learn to do this, and I blah blah blah. I put all of that stuff on myself, which, if we weren't doing a withhold, Diana might have been putting on me.
Right.
You know, you did this all again, blah, blah, blah. It just, the argument sometimes just goes internally into me. And that, I don't know, it's just human.
Right,
you know?
right, good. All right, well, we're going to talk more about communication skills when we come back. If you're just tuning in now, well, you've missed a lot on meaningful communication, but don't worry, we've got more for you. As well, you can watch this show again on my YouTube channel. Just follow the link below to subscribe to my channel, and that way you won't miss any of our great shows. But Eric, so we have talked about withholds.
Yeah.
And now there's another skill that you teach about paranoias.
Yeah, it's a different kind of withhold. Sometimes you have a story, you know, and the story does require some feedback, or needs the opportunity for feedback. I have a paranoia. Paranoia, we call it a paranoia. It's just a story. So I came in this morning and I made a comment about your makeup. Okay.
Right.
And Vanessa was there, who does your makeup.
Yeah, she does a great job.
Yeah, she does a terrific job. I actually look terrible. She's made me look human. It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
But anyway, I made this comment about your makeup, and then we went on, and then you went to get your sound equipment put in, and I said to Vanessa and I were talking about what we were going to do, and so I said, well, okay, there's something called a paranoia. It's one with there's a story. For example, Vanessa, I have a paranoia. Are you willing to hear it? And she said yes. So it's the same thing with permission. So my paranoia is that when I made that comment about your makeup, that you felt insulted.
Right, so comment about the way she had done my makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I have this story that I kind of need some feedback about. You know, I have this story, Vanessa, that you felt insulted.
Right.
Most of the time when that happens, you go, oh, no, 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 no. You don't even think about how you felt or what was going on. You just want to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah, the receiver tends to just go,
Yeah.
oh no, everything's okay.
So Vanessa could have gone, oh, no, 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 that's fine. You know, and I hear that so often when I have a paranoia, and I try not to do that myself. So if you receive a paranoia, so Vanessa received this story that I thought she felt insulted. Vanessa took a breath. She took a breath and went back to see if there was any grain of truth in what I said. Because she doesn't want to make me wrong. And when you have a paranoia, that's the thing, is you're afraid that you're wrong, and then you feel that, you know, somehow you missed out on. So she takes a breath and she shares the grain of truth, you know. And so the grain of truth, Eric, is that, you know, I got a little defensive, you know. And the whole story is, you know, that I really appreciate getting feedback about the makeup so that it could be better. So that's how the paranoia works. So I'll say, I have a paranoia, are you willing to hear it? And you would say yes, and I would tell my story. When such and such happened, I thought maybe you felt whatever. And then you say, then you must ask, would you like some feedback? And I go, yeah, I'd like some feedback. And then you just look for whatever grain of truth, which is what Vanessa did. She looked for the grain of truth. Yeah, I felt a little bit defensive. So, and that helps validate me. And then she can tell the whole story. You know, and the whole story is, I really appreciate get any kind of feedback around makeup. That's my job.
Right.
So that's how paranoia works.
Right. So paranoia is really important, because we could be walking around with this story that, you know, I could have a story, I could be paranoid that, you know, we meet up and you don't really talk to me, and so then I start a mental story of, oh, he's not talking to me because he's mad at me. I know he's mad because the last time I saw him. And then we get into this, you know, tremendous, painful mental movie.
Yeah, right.
And all along, you didn't talk to me because you were tired. Or you didn't talk to me because you actually didn't see me come into the room.
Right.
Or, you know, and so checking in.
Right. So I have this paranoia that you don't even think about me, okay? And then so the grain of truth is, if you'd like some feedback, the grain of truth is that I didn't see you when you walked in. True. You know? And the whole story is that, you know, I was just really tired and just filled with my own thoughts and my own worries. So that's how the paranoia would work.
Right. And I like how that when you say I have a paranoia, it's really owning it.
Yeah.
It's I have this story,
Right.
and I'm just checking to see if there's any truth to the story that I created in my head.
Yeah, which is opposed to what we sometimes do, which is, I have this story and I'm going to prove to you that my story is right. Because when you say that I didn't feel that way, I'm going to come up with all of the evidence that I did feel that way, and then we get into a big argument.
And how you made me feel that way.
Yeah, right.
As though you were capable of how I feel. To control my feelings.
Which could be a whole other show.
We could have a whole nother show just on that.
If we have a couple of minutes, there's one other withhold. It's really a withhold, and it's an appreciation, and it goes in the same way. You know, I have an appreciation. Are you willing to hear it?
I'd love to hear it.
Okay. And so I want to be as specific as possible. I don't want to just say you're doing a terrific job.
Right.
I want, you know, the thing that I appreciate about what you're doing is the way you capsulize the things that I say, and you repeat them. You're obviously paying close attention to what I'm saying, and you're doing just this great job of putting it into a summary. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how an appreciation goes. And you just say thank you. You don't go, oh, no, it's okay, it's just my job. How often have you given appreciation to somebody and they turn it off? Oh, well, I don't really deserve it. You know?
Right.
No, just say thank you.
Yeah, because that is painful for the giver of a compliment or appreciation to hear something dismissive or minimizing, right?
Yeah.
Instead, the receiver is just to say, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you.
And when I receive an appreciation, I almost purposely don't even think about whether it's true or not. Who cares if it's true? It's an appreciation. It feels great.
Well, technically, the person sharing it is their truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I'm not. If that's the truth, if that's how you see me,
right.
I'm not going to argue with that. I'll maybe even join in on that story.
Right. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it feels great. At the Human Awareness Institute, in our meetings, we almost always end with appreciations. We finish the meeting, oh, we've got 5 minutes, let's do appreciations.
Right.
And
Exactly.
then we just look, and we feel wonderful after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you've taught me that from doing your workshops, and I have to admit, I also teach music and drama to young students, and that's how I end every class,
Oh,
is we
yeah?
do appreciations.
Great.
And they love it, and they'll often tell me, "Are we going to get to appreciations now?" They don't want me to leave their class until we've done appreciations.
Wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's so great that hopefully they're not going to have those barriers and walls that they build up that negate themselves when they go, no, I don't want to hear the appreciation. I don't deserve it. I don't believe it. All
Right.
of that bad stuff.
Great. So you do these free mini workshops
Yes.
all throughout Ontario, but mainly every other week or so you're in Toronto anyway.
Yeah, the Toronto area. It's a 2.5 hours. It's free of charge. And it gives people a taste of what the weekend workshops that we put on, what that's all
What
about.
would it be like?
Yeah, and I gotta say, people keep coming back to those 2.5 hours because a lot of it has to do with sharing love and being heard.
And actually putting them through these kind of exercises.
In a
where
way,
they,
yeah.
They get to practice with somebody how to communicate effectively like this.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you, Eric, for coming in, for helping us to communicate more effectively and to come back to love. Thanks for joining.